This is Glambition Radio, episode number 268, Marketing with Conviction, with entrepreneur Kelly Roach.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Glambition Radio.
Glambition Radio.
Glambition Radio.
Glambition Radio.
Glambition Radio.
Glambition Radio.
Welcome to Glambition Radio. I am your host, Allie Brown. I'm an entrepreneur, mentor, investor, and founder of The Trust, the modern premier network for 7- and 8-figure women leaders. I love thinking big, doing different, and exploring ideas that disrupt the status quo, especially when it comes to women, because we are creating the new models for leadership, business success, making money, and changing the world. And hey, we're doing it with style. So let's go. We are mixing it up here on Glambition Radio, and I'm posting a few bonus episodes in the next few weeks, the first of which is this one. And these were part of my iconic conversation series where I interviewed some incredible women who are doing amazing things in their industries in their own iconic way. That is what we're focusing on here. Paving the way to entire new categories, disruptive ways of thinking, zigging when everyone else zags. That is the common theme here. And that is the theme at Iconic 2021 Liberation. It's happening November 3rd and 4th here in Phoenix, Arizona. And we are gathering some of the most incredible women you will ever meet at one single event. I don't say that lightly. We have 20 seats left. Average revenues in the room are well over $1 million per head. You don't have to be at that level to attend, but I want to stress this so strongly that if there were one event that you wanted to attend that was no BS and no boss babes, but everyone looks fantastic, by the way, that is Iconic. This isn't just for influencers. This isn't for the BS entrepreneurs. These are women creating huge businesses, huge missions with huge hearts. It's so hard to even describe the level of the women in this room and the magic that happens. IconicWithAllieBrown.com. Again, about 20 seats left. We would love to fill this room with even more incredible women. Should you feel called, go have a look. I'll put the link below as well in the show notes. And this strange new world, where do we go from here? What is going to work? What are we really here to be? What are we really here to do? That revolves often around speaking our truth and finally saying the things we want to say and stand for the things we've wanted to stand for. And that is our incredible conversation we're having right now with Kelly Roach. In a current world where speaking your truth is increasingly almost dangerous, how does that translate to being an entrepreneur, to being a leader, to being a business owner who is seen as someone at the top of their game? How does that translate in this kind of emotional, social climate right now? Well, I'm having a special guest on today, and this is exactly the topic that we are going to cover today. So get ready for that. But a few quick announcements before I bring her on. And this is part of my Iconic Conversations series, which is interviewing some incredible women who are doing amazing things in their industries in their own iconic way. Let me give you the brief info on that before I move on. It's IconicWithAllieBrown.com. It's November 3rd and 4th here in Phoenix. We are gathering some incredible, incredible women in a room together, closed doors, no recording, to have some incredible conversations around not only the next level for ourselves and the next chapter of what we are creating, but what's going on in the world, because we can't have these conversations online. It just seems not the right medium for so many reasons I don't need to go into, obviously. So IconicWithAllieBrown.com, have a look there. Come join us November 3rd and 4th. And I'm very excited for my guest today, Kelly Roach, who is a past attendee of Iconic. She has been a past client of mine. I'm honored to also have her in The Trust, jointhetrust.org, which is our community for women in the 7 and 8 figures. We're having a meeting here in Scottsdale next week. We're going to have some incredible sessions, including one of our members sharing what she did and is still doing to fill an event she's having in a few weeks with 1,000 people. And this is a live event. You think these things aren't happening. You think amazing things are not happening, but they are. They are. These are the women doing them. We are doing this. So keep tuning in to that higher timeline. That's what these conversations are about. I want you to keep tuning into the higher timelines, because this is what is going to move us through this time. Be aware of what's going on in the world, but be in your higher timeline and connected with other people who are in those higher timelines. So let me bring on the one and only Kelly Roach.
There she is.
Hey, how are you?
You are so living the Florida lifestyle now. Like, you're a changed woman. You're a changed woman.
Absolutely. It is life-changing. Is
that like your real backyard, or is that a backdrop?
No, that's my real backyard. That's where I live now.
Isn't that great? Like,
no,
see, I'd like one like that, but without all the toys and crap. That, like,
yes.
I think I need a different one, because there's a reason I don't face that way.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Get that.
Because we're homeschooling.
Totally.
There's stuff everywhere. How have you been?
I've been great. Florida hasn't really changed our life. I shouldn't say that, but being intentional about deciding what we want our life to look like every day and then acting on it has changed our life.
Yeah.
Part of that change was relocating. But yeah, we've been good.
I love it. So in my preamble, I gave a bit of a setup for this, and I don't know if you got to hear that, but basically I'm going to repeat that for some of the people who are joining us right now before I tell them even more about you. But our topic today, we can hit it from a few meta levels, right? There's your thing on conviction marketing and being so convicted of your beliefs and what you stand for is a timely theme right now. And in a world that it is seen as even risky to say, hey, this is what I believe in, or this is who I work with, or, I mean, just this runs the gamut in so many categories, right?
Yeah.
The conversation today, we're going to talk about how does that translate to you being an entrepreneur leader right now?
Yeah.
Because in the midst of so much negativity and so many people, like, you tune into the news for a second, it's how everything's going to hell. And admittedly, I think a lot of things are, but that's another, right? But then you pull it back into what we have control over and what we've created. And we are creating our own future timelines.
It's 100%.
Yeah. So that's why you were the perfect guest for this. I love it. And I want to tell you all a bit more about Kelly. If you don't know who she is, then you're not online. I mean, follow Kelly Roach. And if you're here to see Kelly, thank you. And if you don't know who I am, hey, follow me as well. So Kelly's a former Fortune 500 executive, has led record-breaking sales teams in 17 locations around the U.S., rose through the ranks to become the youngest VP. No surprise there. I mean, built her coaching company to the first multi-million-dollar mark by leveraging scalable intimacy. I remember you coined that phrase to create the first ever accountability-driven coaching program on the market, revolutionizing the way entrepreneurs launch their offers. She's been in all kinds of media, does some great philanthropy. I mean, just really cool stuff. And I remember from the moment I met you, I was like, this woman has got you were just on fire. And why don't we start with a bit of your story, if that's all right? Because you're not your average person coming out of corporate. Like, you just took this on much differently. Can we start there with a bit about you and your background?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the big thing for me is, I came from a big family. We didn't have a lot. And when I started in my corporate career, I wanted the big corporate job. And I was the first one in, the last one out every single day. And the decision that I made coming into the working world as a very young person was kind of like, I'm not going to accept what's given to me. I'm going to create what I want. And that has been like the mantra of my entire life. And so rose to the top of that company, obviously, for obvious reasons that everyone does, left corporate America to start my own business. But I got into the world of entrepreneurship, and I was just shocked by, one, this bubble of follow the leader, right? That seems to be coming smaller and smaller and smaller, one. And then two, just kind of the lack of business acumen overall that even exists in the corporate space. And so my approach to doing business online has always been to zig when everyone else zags. It's like whatever the industry and the market is doing, we're going to do the exact opposite of that. And not to be different, but because I think critical thinking is really key. And I think that we're seeing this play out obviously on a global scale now, where a lack of critical thinking is catching up with us in big ways. But I think to your point that you just mentioned a couple minutes ago, Ali, if you tune into what's going on in the world right now, it's like everything's burning down. There's all of those things, right? But then when you go into a world of definitively making the choice to create the life experience that you want to live and the results that you want to achieve, the level of abundance and opportunity right now, especially for those that are actually focused on achieving, focused on creating, is massive, because the masses are so distracted right now. It's like everyone is just circling and beating each other up and fighting and attacking each other. And then there's like this little group of us, and I'm not referring to any specific group, but there's a little group of us, you being one of them, me being one of them, many listeners here today, that are kind of like, you know what, I'm going to do me, and I'm going to kind of go out there and make the life that I want and make the business that I want and make a shit ton of money while I'm doing it and have fun and enjoy the process. And that's available to everyone. But you nailed it, Ali, when you said it's deciding what you're going to tune into.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be so discerning right now, right?
Discernment is a good word. And it is something that I know we all fall prey to, right? Especially if your partner, for example, loves watching the news or listening to what's going on in the world. And then your clients do, and they'll come in and be like, did you hear the blah, blah? I'm like, I can't. I'm having a good day. And no one's derailing this day. Good stuff's happening today. Miracles are happening today. Sales are happening today.
Yes.
You know, it is there. And I'm curious, those of you watching right now, are you feeling this kind of push-pull right now? Give a little wave or something. If you're feeling this push-pull right now of what's going on, it can be challenging. And there's some days are better than others. So, and then you add to the layer of that, this whole, I've seen even entrepreneurs now pull back. And I'm not saying I'm not even talking about commenting on things going on in general. Just everyone, I think, I felt this kind of taking it back a notch a bit. Because things are so crazy. And I remember when I did have my very first iconic event was in 2017. And that seems like eons ago. And I remember just starting to talk about the saturation in the industry, right? So let's contain this now, like in a business marketing perspective. So many following the leader. And for those of you watching who may not be familiar with my background as well, I really led the charge for many years within that online marketing space when it was simple and our friends and I were on the phone the other day. I'm like, do you remember we could just send emails and make money? She's like, oh my God. There was no social. It was so fun. So leading the charge through that and then seeing everyone start to do the same thing is when I started going, well, wait, I was getting to a point where I was about to lose my positioning because I hadn't gotten clearer and clearer and clearer in my message. So all of you watching this is like there's so many layers to this, but Kelly, comment from your perspective on the conviction marketing and this whole concept of having this conviction in what you stand for, because it's something you and I both talk about a lot.
Oh, for sure. And for everyone listening, when you think about conviction, you can apply that in any way, shape, or form, right? When I first had this conversation with Ali and I was talking to her about this concept in this book that I've been writing, we talked about coming at that from the standpoint of your beliefs, how you lead your company, what you speak about publicly, the way that you design your program. So there's so many different ways. But the bottom line is now it's gotten so bad that it's to the point where online influencers and most of the teachers in the online space are actually saying, you can just take what I'm doing, reformat it, copy it, and use it as your own. So it's so bad now that teachers are telling people to literally just copy their stuff, which then just reinforces you as being number two forever and you'll never rise up, right? So that's brilliant, obviously, from their standpoint. But yeah, it's the online followership. And listen, the whole reason I wrote this book was that the number one complaint or stressor that you hear from online entrepreneurs is that the online space is so saturated. They can't figure out how to stand out. Everyone is doing the same thing as me. How do I pave a path for myself? And it's like, you pave a path for yourself by having discerning thoughts of your own, by having a belief system based on your personal convictions that is not a copy of someone else's. Mm-hmm. And this is where the critical thinking comes in, because what happens, Allie, is in the online world, because people want so badly to be accepted, so badly to have success, they feel if I just play it safe and do content on the same things that everyone's doing content on, and run my program the same way that everyone's running their program, and duplicate what I see other influencers doing, that I'll be offering something that I already know people want in a way that they want it, and I will, as a byproduct, be successful. And yeah, you can scrape by for a little bit that way, but in this market, and I literally just teaching a workshop on market disruption right now, literally because I studied the cycle of market disruption. We did it with Live Launch. We literally completed the cycle, taught it to 40,000 people, and now we're teaching something new. But you're never going to stand out if your number one goal is to play it safe enough to be able to do something that's pre-approved, because you think that, well, it's working. No, I'm serious.
I love that there should be a little stamp. I'm pre-approved.
Right.
Like, I don't have my own ideas.
No,
yeah.
This is what's going on. And so this idea of conviction that I've been talking about for 2 years, it took me 2 years to get this book out. Usually I can bang out a book in like a year, but it's just
What is the book? What is this book?
Craziness.
Did you tell me about the book? It's not in your bio yet. Tell your team.
It's not in the bio yet. It is launching the last week of February.
Oh,
so
okay,
I just approved the cover today.
Congrats.
It's in final edits. Thank you. So finally, so this is what's going on. So in my mind, Allie, the opportunity is bigger than ever. The opportunity is bigger than ever. And people are playing smaller than ever simultaneously. So those that decide to step out of this tiny little circle get to play in like this huge, massive world of opportunity, but you have to be willing.
Do you find it challenging when you're working with clients, and I know sometimes this is the case in my space, is that shifting them from the mass market thinking and going for the likes, going for the big numbers, right? There are the metrics that we were taught to measure ourselves by, and then getting them to shift out of those metrics into choosing not only metrics that may serve them, but like just creating their whole new framework for success.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that the whole design of social media is to make you obsessed with optics. And unless you opt out of being obsessed with optics, you are again going to play in this tiny little ball that, like, it's almost like a chokehold on your business, because you're playing in the parameters of what others are already doing, instead of, I call it like exploring the playground of imperfect action. It's actually enjoying the process of being a creator. It's enjoying the process of listening to your intuition, of following your own heart. That's why for me, and I share this with you, Allie, like I opted out of everything online like 5 years ago. I read books. I don't even listen to podcasts. I literally read a book a week, because I don't want my brain toxic and polluted by what is going on and what other people are doing. And I would recommend to everyone like opting out of that game, because that's why, Allie, no one creates a legacy body of work anymore. And I talk about this all the time. Like, if you want to do something real with your life and you want to look back and have a legacy that you're proud of, you have to be building a body of work that stands the test of time, not just a series of things that you copy and replicate and duplicate because someone told you that it's going to play well online. You're going to get the likes, you're going to get the comments, you're going to get the engagement. It's just silliness, right?
Yeah. Surface level. And that's, man, that's kind of a great metaphor for what you just see everywhere right now in the world. And there's surface stuff. And I think a lot of stuff is going to end up just dissipating. I hope it does. I hope some social media will just blow up. I hate to say that. We love it and we hate it at the same time, because I know when social even first came out, we were already in the multiple millions. And then we're like, what is this? And suddenly it became like everything. It became everything. And I felt people kind of lose sight of like, what is your long game here? You know, is it to get more likes from this post, from showing your butt in a bikini? Or is it, is it to create something, like you said, that's lasting? Like, you call it your great legacy, or where I call it your iconic work. Yeah. And that is like, really, when you disconnect from all this BS online and you spend time right, with this, the tech off and the electronics off, I mean, everything, and really just sit with this and like, and this is something I did recently because I turned the big 50, which I still can't go. I say those letters, I see those numbers. And I mean, I thought, I don't know, when I was young, I thought people 50 years old were dead. Like, I don't know. And here I am, and I'm feeling like really good. And
you look incredible.
Looking good. And
yes.
like, this is the new 50.
Yes.
So, but it feels like one of the other members of the trust, Chris Plackey, said, when you go past the 50, you feel like you're entering the back nine on the golf course. And I'm like, oh, that's like weird, but I also like it because it does get you to go, hey, what's this really about?
Yeah.
What do I want to create? What do I want to leave? It takes the focus off all that stuff. You just don't care much anymore, So if I could go back and redo that now, I would put on blinders more. Because whenever I got distracted, whenever the business took a wrong turn, whenever things got really wonky, I was going against what I stood for, and I was paying too much attention to what other people were doing. And that is a never-ending tragic cycle. It still can happen though, right? You can get tripped up if you pay too much attention.
But you know what, Allie? One of the things when I was coaching with you that made such a difference for me was really realizing, and this is something that you are so brilliant at and you've helped so many people with, and you will continue to do this. So sometimes you struggle to realize that it does not matter that everyone else is doing it that way, or that was the proven course or whatever. You help people to identify and have the courage to actually trust themselves enough to do what you're called to do, regardless of what everyone else is doing. And I got that so much from my work with you, and I carry that with me in everything that I do. And I would say for anyone listening, if they haven't worked with you or they're considering, definitely come to Iconic for the conversation, apply to work with Allie. But having the courage to listen to your own intuition, it's everything. And it might sound simple, but it's not, because you have pressure from every angle to participate in what everyone else is doing, and you feel like you're missing out or whatever. And that was always hard for me because I never participated in what was going on in my space, and it was lonely, and that was kind of hard, but I just didn't believe in it. It didn't resonate with me. It never felt good. And I'm glad that I didn't. And now we're a multiple 8-figure company because I listened to my own intuition and because I trusted myself, and I was willing to play a different game than everyone else was. And I think more people need to wake up and realize that, like, you are special, you are unique, you should listen to your intuition. Those people are not smarter than you. They're all just following each other.
Yeah.
It's like one person caused a domino effect, and then like 18,000 people later, they're all following this one thing, but they don't even know why they're following it. They don't even know why they're doing it. There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah. It's interesting to get some people in the door too. And like you said, like, they don't know. I'm like, why is your sales process this way? They're like, because I coach with this person and this is what they teach. I'm like, okay, well, that was a while ago. Is this really still working? Well, no, but it's all they know how to do. Right. So best advice that Kelly and I can give all of you is make sure you're really learning the marketing principles. That's something that we both really agree on, because if you learn the principles, this is the unsexy stuff, right? You want to learn how to get more clicks and more of this and more of that. But if you learn these principles, you will use these for the rest of your life in every business, every career. I use sales principles psychologically with my kids, like, like getting them to kind of see a different perspective and make a decision, and like from their own, place. And I mean, just all this stuff is the magic. So watching the time, I want to have a quick question for you. And then I want you to be able to share, of course, with whatever you have going on. Yeah. But when you came to one of my events, I heard someone say, Kelly Roach does not go to events. What is she here? What is she doing here? And I think you validated that as well. You're like, I don't go to events, but I come to yours. And we do have some people listening, maybe considering coming to Iconic. It's here in Phoenix, November 3rd and 4th. It is for these women who have businesses that are chugging along. They're doing well, right? Not for the real beginner, but they know there's a big next level. They know there's something that's going to be unlocked there, being in a room with these women with shut doors, no recording, real conversations. And people ask me, what happens there? And it's hard to describe sometimes. So I'd love your take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't go to events at all. So it was the only event I went to last year. It's the only event I'm going to this year. And that has absolutely nothing to do with COVID and everything to do with, I run 4 companies. I have a 7-year-old daughter and a philanthropic foundation. And the way that I got to where I was being ruthless with my time. And the one thing I will say about Iconic that is so unique, it is not about discussing tactic. It is not about discussing what the latest trends are. It is literally about exploding your thinking, opening up your thinking, and exposing you to a level of perception of what you can create, and then coming at it from different angles that open up your awareness. And I think people always have this obsession with tactic, and tactic will move the needle like an inch. But exploding your ability to think on a paradigm that you've never been exposed to before, that is where quantum leaps come in your business. Yeah. And you can't get that anywhere else. I mean, this is, like I said, there's a reason why this is the only event that I attend. And so I can't recommend it enough, especially if you're someone that like, you feel like you know what your magic is, you've been working really hard, you're getting results in your business, like things are working to a degree, but you're like, I need that unlock. I need that unlock. And the other thing is when you get in a room with 80 other creators at a really high level that are free thinkers, that are making power moves. I mean, these are women that are doing powerful things, from business acquisitions to selling companies and buying new ones to doing mergers, high level collaborations. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you just don't get exposed to. And then you're meeting person after person. You're like, okay, wait a second. I didn't even think I was capable of that before walking in the door. And now I just met 5 people just like me already doing it. You just leave with a different perception of what's possible. And perception is reality. As soon as that happens and you perceive that that's possible for you, now that seed is planted in your mind. Now you're able to go out and start taking the actions that correlate with that to get that result. So I want to see you guys there. Get your ticket, be at Iconic, be there with us.
Thank you so much. Iconic with Allie Brown, November 3rd and 4th. And I'll give a shout out to that Kelly is also in the Trust, which is amazing. Women. That's our $1 million plus. That's the minimum $1 million group. If you're interested in that, you're watching that, jointhetrust.org. But Iconic is where we welcome women who are at a certain level past the beginners. You can get all the details on the page, but we would love to have you in the room for this kind of like critical discussion. And a lot of women come in too, and they may feel their business they were doing okay, but they know there's this huge next level. So I want to emphasize, we have ones who are on a trajectory and they're like, there's no stopping me. I want to come meet people. And what's the next level? And there's ones who are like, I'm ready to shake things up. What is this really about? What do I really want to do? And when you get those types together, that's the magic. Otherwise you get so myopic in your thinking going to an event on funnels. You know what I mean? This is like
I can't.
Like, I have your funnel, that's fine. But like the magic is not in the funnel.
Yes.
Okay. That's a quotable.
Can we just get like a billboard that says that, please? The magic is not in the funnel. Like if we could just pass that message along, we would be doing such a good service to the world.
And we need these things, but
not
like really, ladies,
wrong with the funnel, but the funnel isn't going to get it done. Right?
The time is now. Like, yes, that's part of your business, but that bigger thinking.
Yes,
so Iconic with AllieBrown.com, November 3rd and 4th. And Kelly, what do you have coming up? Everyone should know about.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say, there's always a million things, but if you like this idea that we kind of talked about a little bit today of conviction marketing, you're really interested in exploring this idea of critical thinking in your business, really elevating above the noise and doing something worth building a legacy around, just sign up for the Conviction Marketing waitlist. The book is coming out in February. And
where do they do that?
Just go to convictionmarketing.com. You can just sign up for the waitlist.
URL. Ooh, probably like the 2 years ago when URLs, you buy now, decide later, right?
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
So brilliant. So Kelly, last words for all the women watching who may be watching this right now going, my God, this is such a fresh breath of air, these women and the discussion they're having.
There's a lot of us out here. There are more of us out here than you think. I'll go back to how you started the session today, Allie, which is really, you have to decide, what do you want to tune into? There are people thriving. There are people creating. There are people enjoying. They're living their lives. They're making amazing things happen. Be very careful with where and who you give your attention to. It's the most important thing, right?
Yeah. And we all slip, right?
Yeah,
we all slip.
absolutely.
This morning I woke up and Brett was here and he's obviously affected by a lot of things going on in Australia. My husband's from Sydney.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on there now. And I said, babe, come here. And we just kind of came together and like to be grateful right now for everything we have. And all of you watching, look, if you're in a country right now where you have choices and you have the opportunity to be an entrepreneur And I mean, like,
Oh my God.
let's focus today. From the moment you tune out for this, I want to give a challenge to everyone. I want you to really tune in right now and tune in. This is truth.
Yeah.
What you have heard from Kelly and I right now is truth. This is where you tune in. This is where we're going to leave you. This is where you're going to operate from after you watch this. We have just raised your frequency, and that's a great place to sign off.
Yes.
All right.
Love it. All right. Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
Soon.
Thanks, Allie. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Glambition Radio. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you automatically get my new shows every week. Also, I'd love if you left us a review so more women like you can discover us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, and other major platforms. And I'd love to hear from you personally. Come join the conversation on social. Instagram is my happy place lately, and that's Allie Brown Official, but you can find links to my other platforms at alliebrown.com. Glambition Radio is the elevated conversation for women leaders, and I'm honored you tuned in.